This episode of Hero Movie Podcast is brought to you by Manscaped. Go to manscaped.com and use the promo code HMP for 20% off your order and free shipping. That's manscaped.com, promo code HMP. And listeners like you, join us now at patreon.com/HMP for all the other great bonus stuff today. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Hero Movie Podcast, your greatest source for superhero movie discussion in the multiverse. I am your host, Adam Portress, and I'm joined today by a man who will ask you back to his place to check out his food on Sweet Sean's and Kovacs from the internet.
I am also a man out of time.
And he's got to where he is today because of his vision board, Bruce Leslie.
I'm a prickly pear, and I make this fanny pack look good.
Yeah, it is 1984, everybody, or at least in the world of Wonder Woman it is. And unlike the year 1984, everyone could stream this movie at home this week. It's kind of amazing. This is a red-letter day, I think, in cinema history that we got this giant blockbuster, DC movie coming out simultaneously in theaters and people's home at the same time, and no less being, for all intents and purposes, free with your HBO Max subscription. So,
yeah.
We did that make a difference, people watching at home versus in the theater? We'll talk about that in a little bit. But before we do, we do want to say a big giant thank you to everyone who helps support this show over at patreon.com/HMP. There you get the pre-show, post-show, and of course the Dinger Zone. This week we talk all about Christmas sort of stuff, and it's a good time over there. So check out the Dinger Zone, and big giant thank you to all of you guys that help support the show throughout the entire year. We really appreciate you. You guys are the MVPs. I'll tell you that right now. And before we get going totally, we do want to say Manscaped, man. Manscaped.com, promo code HMP. This is our last week with them. Did you guys purchase enough? I hope so. Maybe they'll come back. Maybe they won't. But listen, I'll say this. I'm a cleaner and more handsome man on account of them.
Yeah, start the new year off right. Get the Manscaped with the Lawnmower 3.0 and, trim up your Christmas decorations and start into shiny new year. I don't know.
Yeah, something about Boxing Day.
I've got to tell you, I've used so much product for looking better because I am dirty-blooded. As some of our listeners might know, I am swarthy.
He gross.
And a hairy man by trade. And so when I use a lot of this stuff because I also like to think of myself as a bit of a fancy boy. I've got a foot in both worlds. And so I cannot state this enough that the Manscaped products are literally the best products I've ever used. And they are beautiful and they are easy. And it's not complicated, which I thought it would be, but it isn't at all.
And it's
like
nimble.
Manscaped really does have the best products, man.
It's the only thing I could imagine is sufficient to let's just say to shape things like a Green Lantern emblem if you're the type of person who likes to do that.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to put, the Green Lantern symbol or whatever else in your chest hair pattern, who's to say that you're not capable of doing that? You can do that.
Maybe you want to make Mogo.
Yeah.
Yes, that's right. Mogo in your chest.
So do what you can, and the best way to do that is go to manscaped.com, put all the stuff in your shopping cart before you check out. Don't check out without putting in the promo code HMP. When you do that, you get 20% off your order and free shipping. Start your new year outright, everybody. Manscaped.com, promo code HMP for 20% off and free shipping. And we thank Manscaped for helping this program along. All right, everybody, let's get into it. Here is the trailer for Wonder Woman 1984.
My life hasn't been what you probably think it has. We all have our struggles.
Have you ever been in love?
A long, long time ago. You?
So many times. Yeah, all the time.
Welcome to the future. Life is good, but it can be better. And why shouldn't it be? wanted. Think about finally having everything you always wanted.
I can save today, but you can save the world. Steve. Diana.
Now, I take what I want in return.
Everyone will see. The world needs you.
You know what you need to do.
Nothing good is born from lies. And greatness is not what you think. It's all art. That's just a trash can.
It's just a trash can. Yeah.
All right, everybody. That was the trailer for Wonder Woman 1984. You know what time it is. Get yourself ready. I feel like I've got an idea about where this is going, but, you know, every now and then Bruce surprises you. What do you got, Bruce?
Well, anybody who grew up loving the Super Friends knows good and well that Wonder Woman's arch nemesis is the super tight spotted catsuit wearing Cheetah. There are, of course, other villains who've crossed paths with the Amazon princess, who is undeniably the first lady of superheroes, but Cheetah is significant because she has a long history. Cheetah was created by William Marston himself, along with HMP favorite artist Harry Peter, and made her debut in Wonder Woman #6 back in 1943. But the original Cheetah wasn't Barbara Minerva. Instead, it was a DC socialite named Priscilla Rich, and one can only assume she is a cousin to that poor little rich boy I like so much, Richie Rich. And this original Cheetah had a bad case of the split personalities. One of her personalities is a capital city debutante, and the other is a feline-themed supervillain. Also, this original incarnation of Cheetah had no superpowers, but was instead just kind of like another flavor of Catwoman. William Marston, who had some strong opinions about women, created Cheetah to sort of be the opposite of Wonder Woman. You see, Wonder Woman was created to embody everything Marston felt was wonderful about women, while Cheetah was the flip side of that coin, intended to represent the traits of women that can become, in his opinion, not mine, toxic if left unchecked. The phrase Marston used to describe the Cheetah type was, quote, less actively developed women, emotionally misaligned, who needed emotional reform by a love leader such as Wonder Woman, end quote. Now, after Crisis on Infinite Earths, a new Cheetah came to town. This time it was one Dr. Barbara Minerva, created by Lynn Wein and George Perez, who happened to be a British archaeologist. And do you think there was initially a plan for Kristen Wiig to use a British accent in the role of Minerva? I mean, you don't do any time on SNL without developing a ridiculous over-the-top British accent, do you? Well, this Dr. Minerva wasn't just some dusty university bookworm. She was like the female Laura Croft. Well, the British female Laura Croft, on account of she liked to raid tombs, among other things. Hubba hubba. One of Barbara Minerva's expeditions led her to a hidden African tribe that was protected by a female guardian with the powers of a cheetah. Think Black Panther, only female and a direct ripoff of Black Panther. After a band of marauders killed the cheetah guardian, Barbara Minerva agrees to take on the role of the cheetah in order to gain the superpowers and immortality that come with it. A tribal priestess gives her some magic Cartaga berry mixed with human blood, and Barbara drinks it and prepares to become awesome. Things didn't go exactly as planned, though, because the cheetah guardian is supposed to be a virgin. And guess what? Minerva had tasted the fruit of the tree of knowledge. She had danced the Jersey City jig. She had won a game or two of the old slap and tickle. She had bet it all on the daily double. She had done that thing which a guy overpromises and underdelivers. She had mounted an expedition to discover the fertility totem of meh. What I'm trying to say is, she had done the stuff that makes you not a virgin. So things didn't go quite as planned. Her transformations were part curse and part blessing, as she experienced severe pain and physical disability while in her human form and bloodthirsty euphoria while in her cat form. The cheetah quickly became a villain of note when she became fixated on Wonder Woman's lasso and tried to obtain it by treacherous means. Of course, Wonder Woman foiled her plans, but the two went on to clash time and time again. The New 52 added to the cheetah mythos by claiming that she was a host to an entity known as the Goddess of the Hunt, and Rebirth rewrote her origin story once again. This time around, Minerva was a close friend of Diana's up until Ares' sons Deimos and Phobos turned Minerva into a demigod. For some reason, Minerva blames Diana for letting her be transformed into a beast consumed by bloodlust and cannibalistic urges, and thus seeks vengeance. All said and done, just like any comic villain who's been around for nearly 80 years and isn't the Joker, Cheetah took too long to make it into the movies and may have been shortchanged when she got there. But here at HMP, we don't always get to watch the movie we want, but instead we watch the movie we have. So let's have at it.
Minerva, not a name that you really want to. That just doesn't conjure up like, oh, Minerva, eh?
Yeah.
No thanks. So somehow the year is 1984, as the title would suggest. I don't know how we got there, but before we do, though, let's talk a little bit about the first Wonder Woman, because it's been a while since we've kind of mentioned that. I remember, because I didn't watch it again before this viewing, which I'm a little bit disappointed in myself. But Christmas, there's a lot of stuff going on. But I remember enjoying that movie a whole bunch. I mean, I think we all did, yeah?
I think we all really enjoyed it, but we also noted it had kind of a shaky third act and not the best big bad.
Right.
Yeah, I think that may have been the biggest thing, is really just kind of a defined villain, which I will say this time, I think, now technically we've gotten two villains at this point, so to speak, but I think we can really kind of count Pedro Pascal as like the real big bad villain as Max Lord.
Yeah, and also Max Lord, the thing he's probably best known for from the comics, I mean, there are probably a lot of people who don't even know who Max Lord is, but the comic fans probably know him best as the guy who got his neck snapped on live TV by Wonder Woman. So for me and for a lot of people, I think we're going in kind of wondering if that's how this movie's going to end.
I didn't know how they were going to play this, because the Max Lord that I like best is the Max Lord that started Justice League International.
Yeah, the Keith Giffen Max Lord.
Yeah, you know, he's like a huckster. There's something off. Like, people are trying to figure out, how come I keep doing the things that he is telling me to do? Like, all of that cool, those bits. And it's all wrapped up in you know, like goofball, like antics. Because I was a huge fan of Justice League International.
Yeah.
But then, and it was Keith Giffen who like kept using these characters and like killing them all. Like, why are you killing off all of these characters, Keith? I love these characters. Why are you killing them? And so when there is that big moment in Wonder Woman, when she snaps his neck, I was like, wow. So we really went full bad with Max Lord, which I did not expect to happen, especially from the guy who basically created him.
Yeah.
And so to have him in Wonder Woman 1984 as, you know, one of the two villains, I wanted to see what they did with him. And interesting enough, they decided they were going to use it as a Donald Trump like sort of like story, basically.
You know, I didn't quite make that connection. You know, we're stuck in 1984. He has the infomercials. All I can think about, I don't even remember the guy's name, but there was the Asian guy that was on a yacht with a lot of models in bikinis trying to get you to buy his prosperity product. And that's really the main connection I was making there.
The best part about those commercials is he pretty much called you a loser to your face.
Yes.
He's just like, you're a loser. I'm a winner. You need to be like me. I'm a winner. And you're like, maybe I do need to be like this guy. He seems to have everything going on. Lots of hot ladies, a big boat.
Man, and that character was my reference point for the Laotian neighbor on King of the Hill later on.
Oh, very much so.
Oh yes, without a doubt, that guy is definitely that character. Khan is definitely influenced by that guy from the 80s for sure.
You lose a hillbilly.
That's one of my favorite King of the Hill characters. Just so good.
But one thing I was kind of worried about. Well, I'm worried about it with a lot of superhero movies. I mean, we've seen enough that we go in with some of the same worries every time. But you start to worry, are they going to be able to balance the two villains? Like Batman Returns did a really good job of balancing Penguin and Catwoman, but Spider-Man 3 dropped the ball balancing Sandman with Venom. You know, so I never know how well they're going to balance it here. And I was a little nervous because I really like Pedro Pascal and I really like Kristen Wiig, and I wanted them both to get a good shake in the movie, and I didn't want either of them to get shortchanged, but I think maybe we got a little shortchanged on one of our villains here.
I don't know that we got so much shortchanged as we got too much change back. That drawer's not going to be balanced at the end of the night.
Okay, sure, whatever.
Well, I mean, I think ultimately just because the movie, it's for my I think the biggest complaint that I'm seeing online, and I kind of agree with it, is this movie is very, very long for what it gives us.
Yeah, I think 2.5 hours is a bad call here
For this story? I mean, and I like the story.
It's a Snyder-like movie where you're trying to make an epic out of something that's not an epic.
Yeah, agreed. For me, the weak spot in this movie is the villains. They are. You know what? I'm not gonna curb this at all. They're terrible. These villains are awful. Kristen Wiig is horribly miscast. You need someone who, yes, can play that Clark Kent-y, I'm dopey, I'm tripping over my own shoes, I'm a nerd type of person. But then on the other side of it, that person also needs to have menace. There is literally nothing about Kristen Wiig that is menacing.
The Clark Kent comparison is a fair one, but I think really, if we're going to call it what it is, she's Michelle Pfeiffer's Catwoman here.
Absolutely.
And she does not deliver on the other side of that coin, maybe the way that Michelle Pfeiffer does. But also, Michelle Pfeiffer, I mean, I'm not wrong in saying she's like a really good actress, right? I mean, sometimes I say that and people are like, are you kidding? She was just a star, but she wasn't a great actor. I think she really went above and beyond for her Catwoman performance. And I'm not trying to be like silly here. I don't know sometimes if I can trust my own judgment on this stuff.
Well, the thing that Michelle Pfeiffer has that Kristen Wiig does not is that there is a level of gravitas with Michelle Pfeiffer that you're never going to get from a Kristen Wiig.
Yeah, I mean, but I don't know what you're saying, Sean. She was totally menacing. Did you see that she has, eyeliner on? Once she gets super bad?
Well. I like Kristen Wiig in this movie. I'm not here to necessarily hammer on her.
I don't think she's that bad either. I don't know that it was written super well. I think that's maybe my biggest complaint with it, is that it just doesn't. Again, I think we spent way too much time exploring things that I think we need not. You could easily chop 30 minutes out of this movie. Easily.
Yeah, well, it needed 30 minutes chopped out. I don't know how easily you could do it. You know what I mean? Because that's not what I'm here to say is what needs to go and what needs to stay. But it needed to be an hour and 59 minutes.
Yes, it definitely needed to be a half hour shorter. I think that you need to cut down on a lot of the villains stuff that just doesn't work. You know.
Yeah.
Also cut out the mystery part of this, since it's there is no mystery to it. Yeah. You know, in the second act of this movie, they try to set up a mystery that is not mysterious in any way.
Yeah. There's definitely like no suspense there, and tropes exist for a reason, and there's not a thing in the world wrong with tropes, but when they become cliche, that's when there's a problem with it. And man, they're still taking away the superpowers in the second movie, Sean. Something we've talked about since probably the first episode of this podcast.
I don't know why they do it. It's with so many of these superhero movies where, I know, we'll get rid of the powers. That is not the answer anymore.
And also, if you're going to get rid of the powers, does it always have to be because of the person you're in love with? I mean, that's what happened to Superman. That's what happened to Peter Parker. Now it's what happens to Wonder Woman. She's losing her powers so she can be with Steve Trevor with his fancy fanny pack, which you got to give it to Chris Pine. He looks better in a fanny pack than most tourists do.
Hey, listen, if there's somebody who can pull it off, it's either Chris Pine or Dwayne Johnson, one or the other.
I think Chris Pine pulls it off better than The Rock. I'm going to say it. I'm on the record.
I think The Rock probably actually in real life uses a fanny pack.
Yeah, unironically. Like, it's just convenient.
Yeah, because of convenience.
Because when you wear your pants that tight, you're not putting anything in your pockets.
And also,
he's very busy making bad movies.
Also, who's going to make fun of The Rock?
Yeah, you're going to walk up to be like, hey, what's up with your stupid little fanny pack? Why are you joking at me? Please stop.
I would love to be like 6'5" and solid muscle just for a day so I can finally wear the clothes I want.
That's what's stopping him. If you've listened to any of our pre-show, you know that is not what is stopping him.
I couldn't even keep a straight face.
He's
while I was
barely
saying that.
being stopped. The man can't be stopped. Lord knows we've tried.
But I'm a Super Friends fan. You know, that's why I like this stuff. That I love to embrace some of the silliness. I love anything that makes me think about the Super Friends a little bit. So I was really wanting Cheetah to be the main villain. I think you can do a lot with the dynamic between Diana and Cheetah, put something of consequence on the line. You can even have Maxwell Lord there to move the plot along. But I really felt like you take Cheetah out of the movie, it's the same movie.
Yeah, pretty much. Now, what do you guys? Where do you stand on stories that are like this that are essentially monkey's paw, which they name drop specifically in the movie, which I was kind of surprised about. But what do you guys normally? Do you like those stories? Or are they a no? Or is the Simpsons one the only one we can think of?
I hate wishes, and especially when you got like a unlimited wishes and you can wish for anything, and they're not even being clever with the monkey's paw aspect. And I'm going to guess, Sean, you're not a big fan of wishes. Wishes are like just a whole movie that's a dream sequence.
Man, I can't think of anything straight off the top of my head with the exception of like Aladdin, where that works for me. But
Aladdin had rules. You only had 3 wishes, and he told you what you could and couldn't wish for.
Also true. But there's something about the wish fulfillment aspect of Diana's wish specifically where like, oh wow, like I felt that was because let's be clear here. The only reason why they have the wish fulfillment thing in the first place is so they can bring back Steve. Yeah. And it makes sense. I mean, that's literally the only reason why it's there.
I will say this. I do like that. And if we're going to bring back that character, I really did like the way that they did it. He doesn't look like him, but she can only see him as he was. So we also, as the audience, get to see Trevor throughout the entire thing. I thought that was handled quite well. Way better than I imagined it to be.
But also, you got to remember that Diana of the Amazons is the daughter of Zeus. She's on a first name basis with God, so they could always send Steve back to Warner about a great peril or something. You know, they could have done that without having to build the whole movie around the wishes.
They totally could have.
And I think they could have done this whole movie without having her sort of lose her powers, because as bad as I hate losing the powers in the second movie at this point, I really hate when you don't have the balls to go all the way with it.
They turned her down like 75%.
Yeah, and then fix it right away.
I think that because I don't hate this movie. I adore Gal Gadot. I think she's amazing as Diana. She's just the best, man. And Chris Pine is so great in this role too. You know, the superhero side of this is sort of great. There's moments where, you know, like I find myself rolling my eyes. But I thought one of the things that was very cool is when she's using the lasso to whip to like around lightning and riding lightning to keep propelling herself forward. That was awesome to me.
Yeah, kind of giving her that, like, here's how I'm going to end up. We're going to introduce flying in here, and it felt kind of, for what it was, organic enough.
And even before that, I like it when she's kind of doing a Spider-Man thing. You know, she can get around DC with her lasso the way that Spider-Man does with his webs in New York. I was even enjoying that. And I really enjoyed the first act of this movie a lot. I really loved that little girl that was playing young Diana, and I saw some behind the scenes stuff with her and Patty Jenkins talking about how like wonderful she was on the set, how brave she was with all the stunts. They weren't really able to find a double her size, but she was pretty cool doing all the stuff she needed to do. She's comfortable on horseback. You know, of course she had safety lines on her, but she really climbed that big giant thing and went 360 on it and stuff like that. So I just got a lot of joy there. That was just kind of fun, something we haven't really seen, I don't think. And then after that, when we go to 1984 and Diana's going down the street, like saving kids. And it was just a nice throwback to Christopher Reeves as Superman getting cats out of trees and stuff. You know, we get that nice little scene of him kind of secretly saving a lot of people's day going down the street. I love that part of it. I thought the mall was a lot of fun.
Well, as we said in the first Wonder Woman movie, you know, this character is Superman. Like she has completely replaced Superman as like, oh, this person is good. Yeah. And so, you know, when you see to me, the best moment in this movie is when she kind of pushes the little girl into the big bear. Yeah. And then they wink at each other and she gives her the be quiet finger to her mouth, you know. That to me is that instills who this character is and what is so great about this character. And so everything else that is built around this movie is kind of garbagey, but she herself is so wonderful in this role that I can't give this movie a bad grade.
And the mall, you know, when they're in the mall, they didn't go like ultra realistic 80s mall like Stranger Things did. They did like a fantasy version of the 80s with the colors, and it's a little bit of parody, and I'm cool with that. I love that. It got me really excited for a movie that did not follow that mall scene and the setup. When I see now, and I like Kristen Wiig. I like Kristen Wiig as Cheetah. I don't think that Cheetah was handled as well as she could have been in this script, but I'm going to say that I really enjoyed Kristen Wiig. I see her walking in there with the glasses and the mousy hair, and I know we're going to get this Michelle Pfeiffer thing. I know where this is going. I'm waiting for her apartment to light up and say hell here, but that never happens. I even, you know, you say she didn't have menace, but I think she's not a bad actress when she transforms into the more confident version of Barbara Minerva. I was feeling it. Like I've seen Kristen Wiig in movies before. I've seen her on TV before. I was seeing a version of Kristen Wiig I didn't know was there, you know, and she pulls off the big frumpy skirt and she's just got like the leggings and turns her shirt into a tight dress. I'm like, wow, I've never really seen this part of Kristen Wiig either. So I was rolling with it. I was on Team Wiig there in the beginning. She just I didn't buy her motivation for her heel turn. You know, she's an archaeologist. She found that stone and made her wish, but she could have just, you know, I guess you didn't need Maxwell Lord necessarily, or you didn't need her teaming up with Lord, or Lord could just be in the backgrounds, you know, doing something. But I don't like that. I feel like her story got hijacked.
Yeah, I think she was. Yeah, I'm with you, Bruce. I think she was fine. I think boys, you're both right because I think she was fine as far as the acting stuff goes. I'm a big fan of her. If you want to see a good dramatic Kristen Wiig performance, check out The Skeleton Twins with Bill Hader. Good flick.
I do like that movie, and I like her in it.
And I think she is actually a very talented actress. I do love because she is a good looking lady. You know, we can frumpy her up all day long, but when you see her put together like that, it's just like, yeah, we all knew she was very good looking.
Yeah, I think this was the first time I've seen a movie where she's allowed to be sexy.
Yeah, and she pulls it off. She does really well, and I like, for the most part, I like the kind of banter and everything between those two. But let me ask you this, because maybe I just missed it or something. What's Diana's job here?
She works for the Smithsonian, and she works with ancient Mediterranean history because, of course, you know, she's an ancient Greek.
She looks like the vibe I get is I walk around and look at other people's departments. Hey, what's going on over here? Cool.
And look, I'm not going to say it's right, but in 1984, if you look like her, once you got hired, ain't nobody going to fire you.
It's fair.
And and you know, plus she's also actually good at her job because she can read like the language of the gods and Latin and Greek. I mean, she's 1,000 years old. She's got a lot of learning.
Whenever you want, boys, I got a whole list of notes here that I made on my second viewing and everything.
Here's a couple things I'll say before we go
Whenever
into the
you're
notes. But you guys may already know this, but I'm sure there's some people listening that don't know. This was not Pedro Pascal's first Wonder Woman movie.
Right.
Did you know that, Adam?
I can't say that I did.
He was in that Adrian Palicki pilot.
Oh, yeah. I remember seeing something about that. I certainly don't remember him. I saw that all of once, I think.
And I read an interview where he thought that was really going to be his big break. He was finally going to be a big Hollywood star after making that, and it didn't quite work out that way.
I will say this. While the character is like kind of oddly written and everything, it at least feels like he's having a lot of fun with this role. He is kind of going at it with, all force. And like, for me, at least, he seemed to be one of the few, while over the top, at least interesting enough characters. I don't like, how everything kind of always changed and everything was, kind of perfect with all the wishes and everything and how it happens immediately. It's cool and corny at the same time. And I don't know how that works. But I thought he did like a pretty decent job overall. And he was the person that, like, when we came back to his story each time, I was more compelled because of this, crazy, wild, over the top, persona that he's putting on this guy.
Yeah, it really felt like the kind of comic book story that you totally buy in a comic, but it just doesn't translate to the screen. And Jeff Johns helped write this script, so it's got that comic book bones to it.
That's literally what it felt like to me, where, you like, there is a difference between the Marvel movies and the Marvel comic books that the movies are based off of.
Yeah.
And this does not have that. They're close. They're getting very, very close. There's a few characters now that I can't wait to see the next thing they do. Shazam. I don't know if Gal Gadot is ever going to be Wonder Woman again. She says that unless Patty Jenkins is the director, she won't do it. We'll see about that.
I think Patty said that she may do I think she said she's going to do a third one, but the third one would be her last one.
That's great. That's great. I do like this version of Wonder Woman a lot. I just think that the third act of both of these movies is joyless, like completely and utterly joyless.
Yeah.
Where there's moments like there's really fun moments in this movie. There's times where I'm like, oh man, that was really great. And then there's other times where it just feels like you're just getting through it. And it's 2.5 long. That is a part-time job.
And early in the setup of the first act, I really thought we could be getting something that felt a little bit like Shazam, but of course, it didn't happen that way.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what are your notes there, Adam? We derailed your.
No. I was just throwing it out there. I mean, we got plenty of time left. I just wanted to say,
and I'll also tell you, as a Super Friends fan, I love it that they worked in the invisible jet.
I thought
that was cool.
That was the best way they could have done something that could have and should have been awfully corny and just terribly stupid. I thought it was a little silly. Like, I've only done it once and it was a coffee cup. I'm like, well, this ought to be interesting.
Yeah.
But at least it's like, hey, she's touching the plane. That's what makes it invisible. And it all kind of works. Better than I could have imagined. And I'm glad that at the same time, much like we had with Captain America, the First Avenger, where we got to see all the stupid little outfits that you wanted to see him in, but wouldn't work in the long haul.
Yeah.
This invisible jet really ain't going to work. It's such a weird thing of its time and all that. So it's cool that we got it here. And it's also cool that we don't never got to see that again. And I'm cool with that.
Me too.
Yeah. You got a little bit of that in the Jessica Jones season 1 when they're breaking out the costume that Jim wore in the comics or whatever her name was, her superhero name. And she just kind of points and says, no, if I wear that, my superhero name will be Camel Toe. And then we never saw it again.
Jewel?
Yeah, Jewel. I called her Jim, like Jim in the Holograms.
It's truly outrageous, her costume. Okay, so here's what I got. My question, the first one I wrote down was, what did we really learn from that opening scene? It's neat, it's well shot, it's fun, but what did it truly add to the story other than 20 extra minutes?
Well, it's the device to the end of the movie. It's that the truth is all that really matters.
And there's no shortcuts to success. The wishes are all shortcuts to success.
Okay.
And I think that there was a little motivation from Patty Jinx wanting us. Did I just call her Patty Jinx?
Yeah,
That's
like
her
your
Twitter handle.
like your
And now
buddies.
that's what I'm going to call
What's
her.
up, Patty
Yeah.
Jinx? That's my.
Well, that's her Twitter handle, but that's not her real name, is it? Anyway,
Got a couple
I
extra
think there was part of her that wanted this amazing young girl to be doing some amazing stuff for other little girls to see on the screen. You know,
Absolutely.
and nothing wrong with
I'm
that.
glad it happened. And I'll tell you that even my very, very jaded adult daughters watched intently when they're going through the games with little Diana. They very much liked watching those scenes.
Yeah. And there's something about the courageous little girl. The story behind her is like the kind of thing that never happens to me. Like she's walking down the street in London, and I guess somebody sees her and says, "Oh my goodness, you'd be perfect for this movie," and the rest is history. Like that kind of thing never happens to me.
Oh, and
It's that girl and Kirk Douglas, and that's it.
yeah. I will say this though: anytime you want to throw Robin Wright into a movie, you have got my seal of approval right there. So
Yes, without a doubt.
no worries there.
She's so wonderful.
She's great, and I love whatever weird accent we're doing for everybody. It doesn't really make a whole lot of sense, but
Does it feel like it's people trying to do a bad Gal Gadot accent?
Kinda.
That's one of the things that I've picked up on is that like you guys aren't really doing that Israeli accent, but it sounds like what Americans think Gal Gadot's accent is.
I kind of think it's like if you can't take Muhammad to the mountain, you bring the mountain to Muhammad. You can't get Gal Gadot to use anything other than the accent she uses, so you make the other Amazonians join in.
Exactly.
Here's the thing. Our Wonder Woman is a surly lady from the South.
Some of them come off sounding Yugoslavian. Some of them come off sounding Russian. Like one's a little half British, half German, but you don't really get any Greek in there that I can tell.
All the ladies at Themyscira are wearing Adidas tracksuits. Let's see. My next note is if your office party is at your office sucks. Agree?
Yes, agreed.
I think office parties just kind of suck, but that's me.
They do, but but that's the thing. That's the worst part. If you're having an office party and it is at your office, you're taking one thing that sucks and making it suck worse by keeping it at the place that sucks.
But if your office is a Smithsonian museum, that is kind of a cool venue.
Yeah, but you're there all the time. It's just, it's like driving to Burger King. It ain't nothing special to them.
It's like when you work.
That is true. That is absolutely true. No matter what your surroundings are, if you are there every day, all you think about is work. So you got to do it offsite. You have.
So is it like if you work at AMC and you go watch a movie, you want to go to Regal? Is it like that kind of thing?
I do. I'd go to the opposite. I'd go to the opposite theater. I'm like, I'm not going to. And even then, even if I was staying in network, as it were, I'm not going to the theater that I worked at. But I'm not doing that. I'm like, I gotta get away from all that.
You don't want to be the loser that hangs out at work even when you're not scheduled.
Oh, there's enough of them. I'll tell you that. God bless.
But at that party, man, since we're talking about that gala event, I really got to tell you, my breath was taken with that dress Gal Gadot wore to the event. That was something amazing.
We are only men, sir.
The lady can wear some clothes.
My Lord.
The one note I did make was, and this is a quote from my notes, all I'm going to say is you better have clean underwear if you're wearing that.
Very
My
true.
God. My God.
It's split
You
off.
are way to take the sex out of everything, Bruce. My God, man.
Hey, listen,
Oh my God.
we just nicknamed him Old Man Cardigan. So what do you expect?
Oh my Lord.
You don't want
let's
the breeze
take this
to blow.
really beautiful, sexy moment and let's just take all of it out. Let's figure out how to take any bit of sexiness out of a situation.
You don't want a little wind to blow by and somebody sees your yellow stained BVDs.
That's exactly what this is becoming a problem with you, sir.
Oh, okay. I'm just keeping it real.
I'm trying to save your wife here. My God.
He's keeping it real, everybody.
Oh my God. So early 2000s, you're trying to be truthful.
Yes.
Bringing it in. So what I've also put together here is how this is a great drinking game at home for you. Every time Wonder Woman swings in to save a set of kids, take yourself a drink. You're going to be, I'm not going to say you're going to die, but you're going to have a better time watching this film if you do it that way. Because she swings in and saves a lot of kids. We got it. She's a motherly figure. We get it.
We're also living in a world where I think every adult deserves something bad to happen to them. So the kids are the only people I can have sympathy for.
I rewatched the original Wonder Woman this week in prep for Wonder Woman 84. And there is a scene that I completely had forgotten about where she's in the real world in London for the first time and she sees a baby in a carriage and she goes absolutely insane. And she goes, "Oh my God, it's a baby." And she like runs up and Steve's got to pull her away and like, look, we got to keep going here. Like, this is like, come on. And it's one of those moments where like, as a man, you probably just completely like blow by that like I did. But seeing it for the second time here, however many times I've seen the original Wonder Woman now, it really is telling of the character for this movie, for the second one, because she really is a kid-saving fool, that lady.
All over the place. Oh, and I do love the little girl who slides into the bear and everything. I love little children that also are tiny child and also 40-year-old woman. I love it so much. She just looks like some lady who works at some store. Just goes, "Oh, I'm so happy you're here today."
You know what show is a lot like that too? Have either of you seen Queen's Gambit?
I started to, but I haven't
yet.
seen it.
That movie, that miniseries has all of the actors ever who are like 20 in their early 20s who look like they're 50 years old. It is so amazing. And Anya Taylor-Joy, I mean, get out of here. Come on.
So why does this movie have to take place in 1984? And if it does take place in 1984, why aren't we leaning a little bit more into the 80s-ness of it all? Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
I know why I think, but Bruce, do you have an idea?
Well, I was just going to say that I was really disappointed that they didn't give us more good 80s needle drops. We didn't get the movie the trailer told us we were going to get.
Yeah, we got like a little Frankie Goes to Hollywood, and that's about the most memorable kind of 80s song that's in there.
And I think it's probably set in the 80s because that was I'll say there was a particular aesthetic of comic book movies there. You only got one every couple of years, so they had more gravity to them or something. So maybe that's why that perhaps is why she was intrigued with that time period.
I think there's two reasons. One is hipsters. I think that hipsters are more like want to see this if they see the members only jackets and the fanny packs and all that stuff. But the second thing, and I really think this, and I've said this earlier, I think it's because of the Donald Trump archetype, because he became famous in the 80s for land. Sure, that was in New York and not internationally, but you have all of these things. And I don't think that you have Max Lord as the villain of this movie if we live in a different time.
And they said he was going for a little Gordon Gekko from Wall Street. I mean, that's as 1980s as it gets.
Yeah, there's certainly that in the oil tycoons of that era and stuff like that. So it adds up.
Plus, that was when a lot of Ponzi, I won't say Ponzi schemes, but a lot of like infomercial rich people, we were still naive enough as a society that folks would do that. You know, you don't quite get it now. Now it's wrapped up and disguised as a religion or a philosophy or something. But there, you could just have an infomercial. I'm rich, you're not. You want to be rich? Give me money, make me richer. You'll get rich too.
Ladies don't like you because you're poor.
Yeah.
So why does the guy who Trevor takes over, what happens to that guy? Does he just like miss a week and a half of his life or something?
I kind of wondered that a lot. Like, does he just wake up and not even realize a few days have gone by? Like, does he, man?
He got fired from his job for not showing up.
Is it like this thing where he was a consciousness in the back of Steve Trevor's mind? So at least he got to go along for the ride and have some kicks, if you know what I mean?
No, because he seems like he was very unawares of just about everything.
you're right. He seems like he totally doesn't recognize her when she sees him wearing her favorite outfit. And by the way, that guy is credited as handsome man. I'm going to go ahead and say they could have just called him man, in my opinion.
Oh, that guy's all right looking.
But they uglied him up for the movie. I'll say that. He's probably gorgeous in real life. I don't know.
Here's the thing. Chris Pine's quite a handsome man. So you got a lot to live up to when you look in that mirror, and it's like, it's not as good looking as Chris Pine.
And they even made Pedro Pascal look a little doughy here.
I think his face is just like that. I mean, I like the guy, but
he doesn't quite look like that when he takes the helmet off in Mandalorian. Spoilers, guys.
He looks a little worse than that.
But we've seen him in a lot.
My next note
he
here
doesn't look like Oberon Martell anymore.
Fair. My next note here is that Hans Zimmer's score sounds like a temp score, and I've heard people praising this score, and I do not know why.
And they still use Wonder Woman's theme from Justice League, and wasn't that a Junkie XL thing? Like, does he still get credits for that, or is he not credited at all now?
Yeah, he probably gets some back end.
Yeah, he's got to. I mean, they're pretty meticulous about that.
Yeah, he got paid for that, but like there was so much of it where I was just like, it felt like just Hans Zimmer's temp score. Like, we'll put in what we think is going to be there, but it's very much kind of cookie cutter. That's what his sort of style is and everything. And I didn't find anything special about it. So many people were clamoring about how good it was, and I didn't see it.
Yeah, I the only thing I thought about the score is they needed less score and just more licensed music. Like this really needed to lean into 1984's music scene.
Yeah,
totally agree.
All we did was a little bit of fashion work there.
Some deep cut Cure. Get out of here.
My next note is find you a woman who wakes up to you eating Pop-Tarts in bed and wants to start making out right away. Because that's like, I don't know, ladies, that's on the top of the list for most dudes. If I can just sit in bed and eat brown sugar Pop-Tarts, you wake up and hot woman makes out with you, I mean, just sign me up.
I don't know if my wife's into that, but if she is, she hit the jackpot.
She's going to be
well, and also looking like Chris Pine also probably helps.
Doesn't hurt his case.
Yeah, you get a whole lot of breathing room and wiggle room if you look like Chris Pine, I'm guessing.
Yeah, that'll be the new saying. I won't kick him out of bed for eating Pop-Tarts.
Oh, I do like that idea. I love that idea.
So
there are those guys among us who are asking, which is the better prospect, all the Pop-Tarts you can eat or Gal Gadot? I mean, it is a debate for some of us.
For some.
Oh, sir.
Okay, all right, I got you. How you feel about toaster strudel?
See, I prefer the Pop-Tart.
You would, you low-class trailer boy.
Well, Pop-Tart is ready to go right out of the box. Toaster strudel, you have no choice but to toast it.
Yeah, that's how you get them to be good. You toast
Pop-Tarts
them.
have options. Toaster strudel, you're in a single lane.
Now, when we live in this
You're
world...
all going to die of diabetes.
True. I don't eat Pop-Tarts that much. Actually, I can't remember last time. Anyways.
God's honest truth, I haven't had a Pop-Tart in years, and that's why it was a tough decision for me when I saw that scene.
He's like, man, I haven't had a Pop-Tart in a minute, though. So we've got this monkey paw thing here, right? How does it not actually, because we all know how the monkey paw works, you know, you'll wish for something, and it's not going to be exactly what you wished for. It's going to have some sort of other repercussions and everything. You think he would have like thought out the idea of turn me into you, turn me into the gemstone. It's like, dude, they could literally just turn you into a rock right now. Is this the smartest? Could you have worded that just a little bit better? I think.
I think he got a lucky break there because that could have went bad.
I was just waiting for that. I'll be honest,
that's kind of how I thought it was going to end.
Yeah, I want to be the stone. Okay, we'll make you the stone. Boom, there. Now, but the lovely rules we just kind of make up all the time. If I'm touching you, that sort of works. And particles, even though that's an existential idea of these particles hitting people, that's enough. They'll do it. That'll reach all of them. If you say that it does, sure, by God, it will.
There's a whole lot of loosey-goosey crap happening in this.
I do like it, though, that so many people were wishing for Porsches that they were having a problem in D.C. with the Porsches racing up and down the road.
What is it with you people and Porsches? I thought that was a weird one.
Pretty good line.
So, like I said, the visible jet stuff, that was really good. understanding how flying works, that was all a highlight for me. I don't think we need to really go back all that. Fanny packs are funny, I guess. I put "I guess" in parenthetical, so I guess that was me not enjoying fanny packs nearly as much as Bruce.
In other places, they call them bum bags.
Yes.
Bum bags. That makes sense.
Yes.
Because, fanny's a different thing.
Oh, yeah, you don't want to, someplace, yeah, that's not so good. Why?
I always think about this when it comes to that word. Because when in the town I grew up in, we had a breakfast place that was called Fanny's. And I wish I would have taken a picture of that and given it to Marty Merrick.
So, oh man, I ran across a newborn Amish baby when I was in school.
Go on.
The Amish family's last name is Yoder, and if you live anywhere near Amish country, you'll know Yoder.
Lots of Yoders.
And her first name was Fanny.
Hold on.
Nobody
you don't want to do this because they might hear this podcast and
they're Amish.
Sue you. I don't know.
But the baby, they gave the baby the first name of Fanny. So Fanny Yoder basically was that baby's name for the next 20 years.
Brilliant.
So, I want everyone to guess what the song at the end of the show is going to be. All right. So
is it The Wait?
So I think if you're going to impress somebody who's just come out of World War II times, if you're going to impress them
World War
I. I'm sorry. If you're going to put them on an escalator, isn't it more impressive to put them on the up escalator as opposed to the down?
Yeah, I think the down one's more treacherous if you've never used an escalator before.
Yeah, but I mean, like the whole fun of an escalator is not having to walk up the stairs. Down, you take it or leave it. Anybody can do that. But
I just think that the treacherous nature, if you stumble on the first step going up, how far do you fall? But you stumble going down, you're falling for eternity.
Well, I think it depends on how far you get up it, one way or the other, or down it for that matter, I suppose. But
it sounds like a Simpsons bit where you try to go down the up escalator and you fall and you just keep falling for the rest of your life.
Now, I'm a little bit confused here because this is obviously on HBO Max and everything. We've got two full-frame IMAX moments. They're at the beginning and end, but nowhere in the middle. Did that strike anyone else as weird?
I don't notice that stuff so much. I know that it's you have to have expensive cameras and it's not something you can do the whole movie in. So maybe those were the pieces that she wanted to be in IMAX.
No, there's no way. There's got to be more of those scenes that are, because I was waiting, because they normally do them in action scenes, and I'm waiting for the action scenes. I'm like, all right, we're going to open up to full frame here at any moment, and it never happens. We wait to the end because who's waiting to see faux Trevor Gone in IMAX at the end with Christmas trees and snow? Who gives a crap about that?
Maybe that's the day they could get the camera.
It was cheap on that day.
They heard what Nolan did, and they won't let him have cameras for action scenes anymore.
Nolan's taking all up the one, so you only have 2 days.
Yeah, there was like only 2 of those cameras in the world, and he destroyed one of them when he flipped that rig.
Yeah. You know what it feels like to me, Adam, is it feels political, meaning that like it's something that Patty Jenkins wanted to have to show that this is how great this all can look. It's not something where like your Christopher Nolan thing where like look how amazing this all is. It was more of like this is how great this could look. Let's continue this in the future kind of a thing.
I think they should have broken out the IMAX camera for when Barbara Minerva was lifting weights in her aerobics gear.
Man, all right. I understand she's very, very strong. I will, in any movie, man, woman, I don't care. At least fake like you're struggling a little bit. Just a tiny bit. Just make me think that there's actual weight on that bar instead of the nothing that there is. Because it just, I don't know.
It would have been cool if they did a little bit of like the Unbreakable thing where she starts with a little bit of weight and is gradually going up. And by the time she has all the weight, there's a crowd gathered around watching. It kind of seemed like the other people in the gym didn't even notice.
They did.
Well,
at the end.
At the end.
Yeah.
They are standing. There's like a few people standing around watching her.
They're like,
And
oh, look at this 115
the one thing that could have
woman.
made this movie better was 7 more minutes of weightlifting.
Oh my Lord.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
It's one of the many scenes where you're like, All right. I mean, I guess it got across the point. Do we have to have 5 of these things? Seem like a little bit. Now, all right. So I'm going to get into my most controversial take here.
Uh-oh.
A little bit controversial. Because I'm not saying that I necessarily fall into this camp, but it is a question that I asked while watching this movie for the second time. Gal Gadot is a good-looking lady. I think I don't know if she's a good actor, though.
Oh, dude, you were wrong. Immediately, let me just tell you right off the bat, you're wrong. She is an amazing crier, which took me by surprise watching this movie because I'd never seen her emote like this before.
Yeah, she's usually a tough as nails kind of gal.
Right. So having those moments are incredible. I believe the loss once she has to wish Steve away. I believe all of those moments with her. The thing with her as an actress, and I is that if she doesn't understand the moment, it's not going to be as great. So I think like the moment at the end where she's, like in the corner and got her the lasso wrapped around Max Lord's ankle, and she says, "I was not talking to you. I was talking to everyone else." Like she doesn't know what that scene, it feels like she doesn't know what that is, that moment.
Yeah.
She doesn't really get what that moment is. And so it doesn't come off as believable because it's a bit of superhero horse crap. And so she is not going to have the emotions that she needs for that scene. However, when she does know everything that's happening and going on, and I'm not calling her dumb, I just think that it's one of those things where it's like, look, I don't know how to portray this, like that kind of thing.
Yeah.
That's when she gets into a bit of trouble. But with everything that she like, oh, okay, I can understand what this moment means. She's great. It's those times where you're like, well, how? Come on. Like I'm talking to a tennis ball right now. Like that's when she has trouble.
But even like the scene between her and Minerva, like when they have that the little dinner there and everything, I'm like, she's just kind of saying her lines, and we get a couple of reaction shots. It's like, yeah, you look pretty and smiled. That's good, but I don't know that I bought any of the relationship between these two.
I didn't have any problems with her performance at all, especially not, that scene you're talking about. I think that's a scene that didn't ask for much, so you don't give it much.
I guess. But
like I've seen great, well-respected actors have scenes that like you don't have to break a sweat on every scene, so I think that's fine. Yeah. And you may not know this, but I've seen all the Fast and Furious movies. I've seen her acting next to Vin Diesel. It could be worse.
Fair enough. I will give you that. Vin Diesel is Wonder Woman.
I'd say she's even better than Tyrese Gibson.
Oh, just a touch. All right, I'll give you Tyrese. All right, you know what? It's starting to look better for me for Gal Gadot right now. So, well, before we get to our final review here and everything, we do have to ask ourselves one very important question, and that is how Wonder Woman 1984, or WW84 as the title card would tell us, relates back 1-to-1 with Sylvester Stallone.
Thank you, Adam. I have a prepared statement. His career started by writing the script for the movie adaptation of Doom. 5 years later, he would write the first Expendables movie, and his career takes off from there. His name is Dave Callahan, and he was one of 4 listed writers for the screenplay for Wonder Woman 1984. But if we're all being honest, come on. Dave Callahan did the heavy lifting writing for this movie. Come on. We know that it had to be Callahan. After the Expendables, he would go on to write Godzilla, Zombieland Double Tap, and Jean-Claude Van Johnson, whatever the hell that might be. But the most interesting thing about Dave Callahan are the projects he has coming up, because he wrote the Shang-Chi movie and Into the Spider-Verse 2 and the new Mortal Kombat movie. Why make a new Mortal Kombat movie? Hasn't Sub-Zero's story been told already? My point is, Dave Callahan has been and will continue to be one of the guys who makes movie that nerds like you and I enjoy. I don't know how someone goes from dude who wrote the movie Doom to the dude who writes everything. I'm guessing he interviews well and that he's related to someone in the business and that he's handsome. Have you seen Doom? I've seen Doom. It's awful. Of course it's awful. Dwayne Johnson is in it. And for those of you who might be listening for the first time, Dwayne The Rock Johnson, while everyone loves him, has yet to make a good movie or TV show, even though he's been acting since 1999. And there you have it, HMPers and Dingalingers. This week's Stallone connection is the guy who wrote the movie Doom, Dave Callahan. Adam and Bruce, this is the 336th episode of this bit, and still no word from Sylvester Stallone.
I don't think somebody's seen The Tooth Fairy.
Oh, no, I haven't. You're right. Is that great like I think?
No, not really. It's not very good. Well, here at Hero Movie Podcast, we have our own patented Robin rating system. If you'd like to check that out, head on down to our subreddit, reddit.com/r/Hero Movie Podcast. It's right there at the top, man. And join today. Bruce, where does WW84 fall on the Robin rating system for you?
The movie's okay. You know, it's not bad. It's okay. I think the promotional materials had me expecting a little different movie. I don't know if I can blame the movie for that. I think they made a much bigger deal out of that golden winged armor than it needed to be. I do like it that they finally got Linda Carter to have a little cameo, because that's something that I felt was an unacceptable omission in the first one. But it's okay. You know, it's okay.
I'm sorry for cutting in here, Bruce, and I'm sorry for putting you on the spot. Do you understand who her character is at the
Asteria?
end?
She is who that golden armor originally belonged to. She's the original Wonder Woman.
Gotcha.
I thought that was a Rihanna song.
Okay. Yeah, well, she's the original Wonder Woman, the mantle that Diana has picked up, and I thought that was kind of cool. But still, it's okay. Some people may blame the way it was released. Some people may blame lots of things on it. I kind of was so excited for this. I maybe set myself up for a little bit of disappointment, but Damian Wayne, right middle of the road, Damian Wayne is probably all I can give this.
All right. Sean?
Yeah, I am a low Damian Wayne as well. I think that the third act yet again is garbage for Wonder Woman. I think that the villains in this movie are awful, and I think that Kristen Wiig is so poorly cast. But I don't understand the hate that is coming for this movie. It's just not very. You know what? I do understand the hate because nerdy guys are the worst.
Yeah.
I just so sexist. It's incredible. It's not a great movie, but it's not awful. It's not the worst thing you've ever seen. And I mean, it's, you know, like it's a new superhero movie. Enjoy it, you know, like it's gonna make you roll your eyes at times, but Jesus, what superhero movie does it?
That's true.
It's a low Damian Wayne.
Better than Bloodshot.
Oh, way better. way better than Bloodshot.
If you're stuck at home and you have the option between Wonder Woman and Bloodshot, I hate to tell you, but Wonder Woman's the better choice. As much as I love Bloodshot, you can go back and listen to those reviews. Woo, we loved it.
Yeah, no. I remember liking it because I was just so shocked that The Rock was like, or not The Rock, that Vin Diesel
another
was like,
thespian.
Yeah, sorry.
How dare you?
I was like, oh, hey, I don't absolutely hate him in this.
That's because he was quiet most of the time. Like those Pitch Black movies. If you shut him up, Vin Diesel's all right, you know?
Yeah, it's true.
For me, yeah, I'm in the Damian Wayne category here as well, right in the middle. I do think, and this may be just me putting on my, you know, I know everything hat, which I, you know, do every now and then. But I do think that there is a bit of this, a bit of kind of, I don't want to say backlash, but a little bit of the negative opinion is the fact that it's on your television. Like for most people, they're watching it on their TV, the sound out of their TV, and it's not impressive. It's just not. And you do get a different experience from a theater. Luckily, I've got, you know, sound out the wazoo, so that's not a problem for me. In fact, I can, you know, bother neighbors if I have to. But not everybody's like that. And I feel like taking some of that theaterness out of it and just putting it in everyone's home, it does devalue it a little bit. It kind of does. And, you know, you don't feel that way about stuff that, you know, starts out as a television thing. You know, Mandalorian doesn't feel like the small, nothing TV sort of thing, but it's designed from that get-go to be that product. And therefore,
it's
that's
also
how we've
better
accepted.
than this. I mean, Mandalorian's better than this.
Well, yeah.
Mandalorian is a far better thing.
But it's how you've also accepted it, though, because
there's definitely a lot to what you say. I mean, you can give the same exact medicine to two groups of people. You give it to one group for free, charge the other group $100. The placebo effect. The people that paid $100 are going to be convinced they got better medicine. So there is something to that.
Yeah, I mean, how you consume media certainly can change the outcome of how you see it, and I wonder if that may be somewhat to blame in some of the backlash. But I do understand a lot of the quibbles as we've gone over in the show. So, but yeah, Damian Wayne right there in the middle. Well, that is it, everybody. Another year of HMP is in the books, and I'm glad that we got to close it out with an actual, proper superhero new release, be it at home or or slightly in theaters for some folk.
Yeah,
But
we haven't done this since March.
It's been a while, so it's kind of nice to have something that's like, oh, brand new. And there were so many cool brand new things that were supposed to come this year that we have to wait till next year. But hopefully that means next year will be filled with gym after gym. That's what I'm hoping. I tell that to everybody. I'm like, listen, we review all of these things. I want nothing more than for all of them to be great. I don't want them to stink. We want to love all these things, and hopefully we'll have a chance to love all those things a little bit more in 2021. Not sure what we're doing next week. We'll probably talk about that in the after show, patreon.com/HMP.
I'm going to guess that it's our year-end wrap-up.
We'll talk about that in the after
We'll
show.
figure that out. Bruce, where else can we find more of your work on the internet?
You can go to Chubby Wizard, where this last week we did the greatest Christmas episode ever, where we talked almost nothing about Christmas for an hour and 45 minutes. So go check out Chubby Wizard.
The anti-Christmas Christmas special. Or at least void of Christmas, I suppose. Sean?
Why don't you go to Mandalorian 30 Questions, where we have 30 questions for every episode of The Mandalorian. And maybe we're doing a wrap-up episode. We'll talk about that in the after show as well.
Yeah, little things on the horizon. Just check them out, everybody. That is it. So join us in 2021 when we're doing this all over again. For Sweet Sean Kovacs from the Internet, Bruce Leslie, I'm Adam Porters. Stay super, everybody.
Bye, Marty and Edie.
I pulled into Nazareth, was feeling about half-past dead. I just need some place where I can lay my head. Hey, mister, can you tell me where a man might find a bed? He just grinned and shook my hand, no was all he said. Take a load off Fanny, take a load for free. Take a load off Fanny, and you put the load right on me. I picked up my bag, I went looking for a place to hide. When I saw Carmen and the devil walking side by side, I said, hey Carmen, come on, let's go downtown. She said, I gotta go, but my friend can stick around. Take a load off Fanny, take a load for free. Take a load off Fanny, and you put the load right on me. Go down, Miss Moses, there's nothing you can say. It's just old Luke, and Luke's waiting on a judgment day. Well, Luke, my friend, what about young Anna Lee? He said, do me a favor, son, won't you stay and keep Anna Lee company? Take a load off Fanny, take a load for free. Take a load off Fanny, and you put the load right on me.